I just knew we were doing a book that made me really, really excited as someone who grew up a Turtles fan and as someone who just loves good comic book stories.
Welcome back to FanFest. Joining me now are Jason Aaron, writer of one of the best-selling comics of 2024 with the TMNT relaunch, alongside Caleb Goellner, writer of the TMNT X NARUTO series. Welcome. Jason, I wanted to start this off with you. We saw the main TMNT comic get relaunched last year along with a number of other new books. Is there a guiding mission statement or philosophy for the TMNT line right now?
I mean, for me on this book, the guiding principle was just looking back at that original series, original Mirage Studios book. You know, last year was the 40th anniversary of that series
Oh,
kicking
yeah.
off and introducing the turtles. So, and that was my first experience with those characters before the films or the cartoons or anything. It was that original black and white Mirage Studios book. So I wanted to try to recapture some of the grittiness and griminess and the big double page spreads and action scenes of grimy turtles fighting ninjas in New York City alleyways. So that's kind of the spirit we were going for, but also to tell a story that felt new and felt like it was taking these characters forward after all the stuff they'd been through in the previous 150 issues of the IDW series, to see how they've kind of grown up a little bit and reached a turning point in their lives where they're going in four different directions and trying to figure out how do they come back together and be the heroes they used to be, that they need to be to win this fight.
Now, obviously, the last Ronin series has been a huge success for IDW. TMNT #1 was one of the best-selling comics of last year. So looking at the success of those series and other books like the Absolute line at DC, the Ultimate line at Marvel, and the Energon universe at Skybound, do you think there's been like a pent-up demand for these big, clean, jumping-on points for popular franchises?
I mean, certainly seems like it after last year, and I'm very happy to have been a part of a couple of those. I still don't really even think about that stuff. Like, I sit down to do my job, like here at my desk in
Mhm.
an empty basement by myself, and I'm just trying to make up stories that get me excited. And I knew as soon as I got the call about doing Turtles, which is not really a job I'd ever imagined would come my way. Like, when I got that call, I was excited for that opportunity and realized I think I can do something kind of cool. And then, got to work with an incredible, ridiculous cavalcade of artists over the course of those first 6 issues. So I just knew we were doing a book that made me really, really excited as someone who grew up a Turtles fan and as someone who just loves good comic book
Mhm.
stories. Because I think this is a story for you if you've loved the Turtles for 40 years, if you've never heard of them until this moment in time. And so thankfully that excitement seems to have translated to other people.
When your series launched, the Turtles were scattered to the four corners of the globe. We're only just now seeing them reunited. Has it been satisfying to reestablish that status quo and explore the family dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, those first 4 issues are really fun to write when you're seeing each of the brothers kind of in a different situation around the globe. I had a lot of fun with those, of like what kind of trouble they had gotten into, and then what starts to bring them back together. But the real fun is what happens once they are all together, right? Like seeing
Mhm.
how those four characters bounce off each other. And at this point in time in the book, things aren't great. Like, it's not, they're not really happy to see each other. In issue 6, when they finally make their way back to New York City, we see that the city has changed as well. Like, the entire city of New York City has been weaponized against them by this new villain who's a part of the Foot Clan. So the turtles find themselves the most hated entities in the 5 boroughs, the 6 boroughs, I guess, including Mutant Town. So the odds are stacked against them in a huge way. And again, they can't even stand to be around each other, it seems like. So how are they going to come together and win this fight?
Well, speaking of issue #6, that marked the debut of Juan Ferreira, who's going to be the main artist on the series going forward. Are you excited to have a more consistent visual style going forward?
Yeah, I mean, again, it made sense to kind of use different artists for those first 5 issues because we focused on the different turtles, and then issue 5 focused on our new bad guy, who's the district attorney of New York City. But having Juan come on with issue 6 made sense because that's kind of really when the main bulk of the plot picks up. And Juan, even though he was following this sort of group of titans on this book, artistic titans, he's doing incredible work. I think anybody who sees issue 6 and 7 will realize this guy was born to draw the turtles. he was born to draw this kind of turtle story, jumping through alleyways, running across the rooftops of Manhattan. Like Juan's work on this has been absolutely killer. So I think even though he's following all those legends, he's really making this book his own, I think, in a huge way.
Now, Caleb, TMNT X NARUTO has given you and Hendry Porcetia a chance to reimagine the look of the turtles and their universe. Are you happy with how the series has turned out so far?
I couldn't be like happier, I don't think. I only had a few like basic little suggestions about how to do that. I can't take any credit for the turtles like awesome redesigns. I was like, I don't know, put them in masks in the first issue, like in Naruto, and like what they came back with was just unreal. I hope they get made into toys. I don't have any say, I don't have any insight, but like that's like my wish, just so I can like put them up in my shelf with my collection. You write the script and like you kind of imagine it, but you never know what's going to come out, and whatever you get back is like it just blows you away every time. I get to have like the same feeling as like a reader going into a shop and seeing this stuff come to life.
Have these characters surprised you in the way they interact and play off of one another?
I mean, it's funny, like I write this stuff and I just kind of forget what I even did. You know, you're trying to do a good job. And so, yeah, like all of it's a surprise. It comes back. I'm like, I wrote that? That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. Like, Mikey's being funny with the group. I really like the heavies. I like Raph and Sakura. I like the way they like bounce off each other because they're both kind of like the tanks of the teams.
What can fans expect from the series as you move into Big Apple Village, veer into the conflict with the Foot Clan?
Well, we'll just say the creator of Naruto, he had one request for this crossover. It was to have a certain villain appear and for the Naruto characters to fight that certain villain. I'm not going to say who, but I think everybody's going to be pretty stoked. I know I am, and I can't wait to see how folks react, because so far the vibe on the book's super positive, and I really appreciate everybody coming on this journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. All this new TMNT content looks very exciting. Is there anything else you care to share with the audience before we let you go?
No, I think just thanks, like thanks for the response to these books, to the Turtles universe. Like for me, somebody who's just, been a fan up until last year, getting to work with these characters for the first time, it's been super cool and fun to be welcomed into that, that corner of comicdom.
It's a fantastic fandom. Every convention you go to with Turtles fans, it's just an outpouring of like enthusiasm and love. And doing signings for this book, it's the same with the Naruto fandom. Like, I don't know what it is about ninjas, but if you gave like Daredevil's enemies the Hand their own series, I'm sure you'd get like some really nice fans at conventions too.
Well, thank you to both Jason and Caleb. I'm Damon, and there is lots more FanFest still to come, so stick around.